Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, the 12th of December. Right. I want to talk about getting out of Egypt, getting out of the thinking of Egypt, out of the thinking of Egypt of as above, so below. Actually, not the principle itself, but what they thought was above. I think that's where the mistake is. I think I've got the Kabbalion on here. I think the Hermetic principles themselves stand. There's nothing wrong with them. It is just what they thought was above that was wrong. And that is the thought of the hierarchy system, the pyramid, the few in the capstone that will rule over the base of the pyramid, and that the base of the pyramid is there to sustain the capstone. And they thought that is what was above, and they would become a reflection of that. And obviously that thought spread all over the world because there are pyramids everywhere. And you have the step pyramids, again reflecting the thought of stepping up toward the capstone, into enlightenment. And then becoming one of the rulers, really. Now, where did the thinking come from that it should be a reflection of as above? Now, again, in the Sumerian text, which would obviously be the forerunner of Egypt, it says that the thought or the principle of kingship and priesthood were brought to earth by the gods. And there you have politics and religion, the two ways by which you rule over man. Again, that principle came from the gods. So either somebody channeled from another consciousness, or they were actually here. Most likely they were actually here. And again, then two things could have happened. Either the human plebs thought that was all, that is all there is above, just that system, and they are so much greater than us, so we must become according to the heavens. Well, it's either that, or those that received that message, that saw, that system, saw the advantages in that system for themselves, which is obviously there. Once you get into the capstone, that system has got a great advantage for you. Anyway, it was implemented all over this world, and it is in spiritual thinkings all over the place. I mean, even now in the more, let's say, modern thinkings like theosophy. I mean, Rudolf Steiner was obsessed with hierarchies. He was in the thinking of Egypt. He most certainly was. It's obviously reflected in Christianity, or in the whole Judeo-Christian thinking, with the one being at the top, whose will must be done. Actually, Jesus applied that principle to himself, that thinking. Whereas we are made up of many parts, again, one part made up of many parts, and he elevated one part of himself into the capstone. That is to say, the energy of compassion and the knowledge that comes on that energy. He elevated that to rule over everything else. So he applied that within himself. Still the thinking of Egypt, still the same principle. But if we go, I know one more thing, and that is those now that have gone into the far thinking of the creator of the all, Yeah? They have now elevated him or that into the capstone. It is that which rules over everything else. Now, as I say, I've got the Kybalion here, and there are two things that the Kybalion says about the Creator and about us. Yeah? And there's one line in that is most notable to me when it comes to us, to the created part. Yeah? And that is, let's see if I can find, where did I have it? Right. So that is the principle of mentalism. Obviously, everything is mind. And the principle of the all, yeah, is the substantial reality underlying all the outward manifestations and appearances which we know under the term the material universe. So the all is that which underlies the material universe. The phenomena of life, matter, energy, and in short all that is apparent to our material senses is spirit, which in itself, the underlying reality is spirit, which in itself is unknowable and undefinable, but which may be considered and thought of as an universal, infinite living mind. But it itself is unknowable. You cannot know it. But here comes. It also explains that all the phenomenal world, I hate that word, phenomenal world or universe is simply a mental creation of the all, subject to the law of created things, which is created, is subject to the laws of created things. And that is the one sentence which really got me. Once we create something, we are becoming subject to that which is created. Yeah? The underlying reality is there, but we are becoming subject to that which we have created. And again, we have brought this thought of the hierarchy of heavens to earth. We made it a reality, and we're now living according to the laws of that thought and of that reality. We are living according to the thought of the pyramid, to its laws. And I mean, in a moment, look at this world, that thought of Egypt is going haywire. The pyramids everywhere. Yeah? And everybody wants to rule over everything else. You have countries that are pyramids, you have corporations that are pyramids, it's everywhere. You've got Papa Schwab that wants to be the one that rules all. We're there. It is full on manifesting all around us. It is building its structures, and we are living the laws, according to the laws of what has been created. Now, I propose that above looks different, that above is not a pyramid. Especially if you go by as below, so above, not the other way around. By as below, so above. Yeah? I cannot see the pyramid system in nature. It's not here. The pyramid itself exists in nature, notably in the insect kingdom, bees, yeah. But the bees themselves, although they live in that system, are part of a greater system of nature. Yeah? They receive of nature, they give to nature. They do their part, their works in all, in the whole. So they are subject to a greater law. And as I said, the pyramid system itself, here in this world, Yeah, it's mostly insects, and folks, we are not insects. Yeah? So I do not see it reflected here. There is no part of nature elevated above everything else, ruling over everything else, but they're all parts giving and receiving of one another. So I propose what above actually looks like, and it's not floating pyramids all over the place. I would propose that it looks like, now I'll see if I can get this off. I need to put this away. There it is. Okay. I propose it looks like that. That is what above looks like. And here you see again the little worlds that give and receive, that have connections to one another. And on those connections, you might receive what? Energy, thought, knowledge, giving to one another. Yeah? You see, there's not one part there that is connected to everything else. There are actually parts there that are not connected to one another directly at all. They have no connection. So why do they not have a connection? If you say the principle of creation, yeah, is that we should sustain one another. And that is this, what we're looking at here is actually built on good intentions. Yeah. Then those that can give and receive to one another are connected to one another. But parts of creation are that different from each other that they cannot give to one another. And here's a thought that I have seen in the Aquarian Gospels, which I thought was very poignant. And that's the thought that what may be food to one can be poison to another. Yeah? So, and again, you see that reflected in this world. You see it reflected in nature, that thought. That, what one can eat would be poison to another. So those two, you should not feed something to your dog which might be good for you, but it's pure poison to it. With the best of intentions, wanting to give it something, you might kill it. Yeah? So, yeah, a network where everything is sustained, every part, again, in this picture is according to itself. As here in nature, every part is according to itself, and it will give and receive to that which it can give and to and receive of. And another thing, like if you look at this world as worlds within worlds, yeah, this is a reflection of the cosmos, this planet, where you have the different ecosystems, the desert, the jungle, the Arctic. Again, what is good in the desert may not work in the jungle or in the Arctic. The creatures that live inside the desert are according to the desert. They have evolved to live in that environment. Yeah? And you will find completely different creatures in the ocean or in Africa, on the savannah or whatever. Yeah? And again, the giraffe is not directly connected to the whale. Yeah? They cannot directly give to one another. And if one tried to go into the environment of the other, they would die. So if we look at creation like that, and not as a hierarchy system, and again, if you look at this picture and you think about it as in space, then tell me where is up and where is down. There is no up and down in space. Nothing is elevated above something else, that there is no up or down. So, now, I'm saying I'm not doing away with the Hermetic principles at all, because I think they stand. As above, so below stands. It's just what you think is above. That's the problem. And all the other principles, I'll see if I can find them here. I should have put it back there. So let me just go back to the other, right. So the principle of mentalism, absolutely, stands. For me, that stands. The principle of correspondence, as above, so below, yeah, that stands. Principle of vibration, yes. Principle of polarity, yes, it does stand. We are all different aspects apart from one another. It stands. Principle of rhythm, the swinging of the pendulum, it stands. Yeah? Cause and effect, most definitely. It all stands. But, again, in the pyramid system, especially the cause and effect, the polarity and the rhythm, those principles, the impact of those principles are much stronger in the pyramid system. Cause and effect, most definitely. Because if the cause is created by only the few and the effect goes to all, yeah, then if your esteemed leaders in the capstone should go completely insane, which they're doing at the moment, then the effect will be on all. Yeah? Whereas if I just go back for a minute, if one of those little parts should go wrong in some way, that which it is connected to would be affected, but the whole would not be affected. And again, if we are in a network of good intentions, yeah, if one makes a mistake or goes wrong and there is an effect on others, we can still give to one another to correct those effects. So the principles would be there, but the effect of them would be diminished. And it would never affect the whole. Again, there's diversity of nature versus a monoculture, which is much more prone to destruction than a diverse system. So, yes, I do propose we get out of the thinking of Egypt, out of the thinking of pyramids, of hierarchies, of one in the capstone that rules over all, and we take that picture that I've just shown as a principle of as above, as in everything, really. I mean, I say I can see it in nature. That was obviously a picture of the neural network in our brain, so it's reflected there. If you look at the stars with an energy reading telescope, you would see the same picture. And if the creator is reflected in that which is created, naturally created, then that picture is a far greater reflection of the underlying reality, I would say, than the pyramid. And the last thought here is that we've been laboring under this hierarchy thought forever, for thousands of years. It has built empires, and the empires have come crashing down. We are going around in circles of building and destruction. And it is really that those in the capstone elevate themselves more and more and more. They do become insane. Sooner or later they will. That has happened in most empires. And the whole thing comes crashing down. Yeah? And here is what I would say is the thought that has created the problem cannot solve it. So building another hierarchy is not going to solve the problem. We must get out of that thinking altogether and have a new thought, a new foundational thought on which we build to create a different outcome. And this is what I'm proposing. As I say, I'm not doing away with the Hermetic principles at all. What I'm doing away with when it comes to as below, so above, is what we think is above. And again, from the beginning, something may have come here and the plebs thought they were all, or some of the plebs saw the advantage for themselves to go with that system. Which, knowing human nature, that's probably the more likely. Or maybe they were in awe at the start and then the other thought caught on. Anyway, here, I leave it at that for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.